Morning, students. Due to drainage of battery in my laptop, so I just try to continue from where I left in the last lecture. So we have seen the global temperature trend. Even of the 11 of the 12 years between 1995 to 2006 ranked among the warmest since 1850. The linear warming trend from 1906 to 2005 shows a 0.74 degrees Celsius rise. Warming from 1956 to 2005 is nearly double the 100-year average. Land areas warm faster than oceans. So, because of the greenhouse effect, what happens? Usually, the ozones will have less heated up. Okay, when compared to the land. So that's why they mention here land areas warm faster than oceans. Northern latitudes warm more rapidly. Widespread melting of snow and ice. Snow cover decreased by about 10% since 1960s. Ice on lakes and river last 2 weeks less than in early 20th century. Glaciers in tropical Andes, Siachen and others are retreating rapidly. Siachen. So you might have heard about the Siachen Valley. Okay, in India. Okay, glaciers in tropical Andes, Siachen and others are retreating rapidly. So the snow is getting melted out, melting. Okay, melting reduces freshwater storage and disrupt the water supplies. So melting reduces the freshwater storage and disrupt the water supplies. So coming to the ice sea and Antarctic ice shelves, northern hemisphere, I told you to take a graph and then see what is northern hemisphere, what is southern hemisphere, where the Arctic, Antarctic located. Okay, where the wind pattern goes like the how it goes. Okay, Indian dipole or Indian Ocean dipole, and this type of monsoons which are occurring for that particular region because of this change in temperature. Okay, so obviously the wind pattern depends on the movement of air fluids, right? So this all you need to supposed to know. So just by reading of the theory will not is very difficult to remember because it's a theoretical paper. What I'm asking is to do is that, okay, please try to take a graph and then see the monsoon patterns. Okay, what are the factors which are affecting from the graph? Okay, from the globe. I mean from the geographical map. Okay, so that will help you to understand better and try to remember the points. For example, a lot of treaties we have been studying, right? Like Paris Agreement, Kyoto Protocol, Montreal Protocol. This all talks about only the climate change. Okay, and also the how to have a good policy making so that it will be common for everyone, not what do you call it, punishing or not putting a lot of stress on a particular country, especially even for a developed nation. Even developed nation has been producing a lot of emissions, but at the same time, when it comes to the air quality and the wind pattern and things like that, everyone cumulatively need to do it. Okay, so but the technology which are there available need to offer to the other countries like developing nation or underdeveloped nation. Hope you understood what I mean. So the northern hemisphere summer sea ice extent dropped 10 to 15% since 1990s. Arctic ice thickness declined 40% in late summer, early autumn. In 2002, Larsen B ice self lost 500 billion tons due to rapid warming. Larsen B ice self lost 500 billion tons. Just imagine 500 billion tons has been lost because of the fast heating up. Okay, in 2002. Okay, so melting ice affects ozone circulation and global climate stability. So what you may think actually what will happen even the snow fells, obviously the sea level rise, the low lying countries. Not only that, what they say, melting ice affects ozone circulation. So the ozone, okay, the ozone circulation in the sense how once it get heated up by the solar radiation, obviously the surface of the sea water will move from center of the equator, from the equator to the poles and from the poles to the equator. That is called ENSO events. That is El Nino and La Nino events, right? So the melting ice affects ozone circulation and global climate stability. Rising global sea levels, 20th century sea level rose between zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.2 meters. So in the 20th century, now we are in 21st century. Imagine the sea level has been rose up to zero point 0.2 meters. Zero point 0.2 meters you may think actually is very small, but it's not really. Okay, so imagine the low-lying countries. There are regions even you could be able to see, especially when I visited Indonesia, I could be able to see a seashore which is below and land is top. Okay, so it's well, it's fine actually. but the land is top, sea is down. That there are some few places where the sea is at the top and the land will be at the bottom. For example, if you go to Pondicherry beach, you could be able to see that difference. Okay, so these are the things what you need to know actually how the geographical location, geographic situated because of the human activities, how what are the consequences we need to face. That's what we need to think of and how to come combat this particular effect. That's why all the global agreement comes into picture. When you see the tide gauge regards confirm consistent upward trend, extreme high water events have increased since 1975. Rising seas threaten coastal infrastructure, ecosystems, and human settlements. So, rising seas threaten not only the coastal infrastructure, it also affects the ecosystem, the marine life, and also the human. So, obviously, when it comes to human, we need to think until that we need not worry about it. It's not like that. Human depends on the other species on the earth. Okay, it's not. It's a ecosystem. So there will be ecosystem means the human eats marine. Okay, I mean fishes and things like that. So we are interdependent. Okay, one loss is a loss to the other. We should not say actually it's not lost to me. So I am polluting my region of land. We should not say like that because if you pollute the air on the on your country, obviously nobody could be able to stop by putting a immigration check or something for the air to pass to the other country. This I already discussed when there is a lot of plantation which has been burned by Indonesia. There are a lot of fugitive dust emission which may occur in Singapore and Malaysian region. So obviously this drastically affects the particular increase the particular matter and the people could not be able to go out of the particular thing. So when they give a green alert, sorry, red alert or orange alert, like how the cyclone has been given in our country, okay, they also give a air pollution index. Okay, depending on the air pollution, they also give a alert so that the people, if it is a red alert, then nobody will come out of the house and things like that. So they will be what you call confined to one places. Okay, during that time, I used to take online classes and so on and so forth. Okay, so why I'm trying to say you need to safeguard the environment. That is very important. Changes in precipitation patterns since 1900s, increases in precipitation in North America, North Europe, and North Asia. Okay, declines in the Sahel, Mediterranean, South Africa, and parts of South Asia. Drought affected areas have expanded since 1970s. Future rainfall likely to be more intense with longer dry spells. So changes in precipitation pattern. So if we have a more rainfall, obviously flood will take place. If there is a drought, so this all depend on the cloud formation and the effect of aerosols on the cloud formation and so on and so forth. This all happens because of the anthropogenic activities, that is human made activities. Hope you understood what I am trying to say. I believe that you will if you think that I am going fast, just recall repeat the video and then please watch. Okay, we are at the edge of the second unit. Mostly I will try to complete with another one more lecture material. Okay, with this we could be able to complete the second unit. Coming to here, the extreme weather events. Heavy precipitation events have become more frequent worldwide. Heat waves occur more often. Cold days and nights have decreased. Climate change increases the risk of floods, storms, and heat-related death. So so as I told you, heat-related death is a or what you call heat stroke. Okay. So during the warm, very warm, but that is if it is more than 40 degree or 45 degree, most of the doctors it is advisable not the elderly person to go out. Mainly the reason is they may get a heat stroke. Okay, it's like a heart attack. It's a heat stroke. Okay, so you should be very careful on that. It is affecting the human. Okay, the climate change increases the risk of flood, storms, and heat-related death. Longer term trends indicate the intensification of weather extremes. Hydrological system changes, so the water pattern changes because of the rainfall. Glacier and snow-fed rivers show yearly spring peak discharge. Okay, so what do you mean by glacier? Do you have any idea the glacier and snow? I've been keep on telling the glacier. Hope you understood, I believe. Okay, so the definition of glacier, it goes like this. I'll explain to you what do you if you are not aware of what is glacier means. Okay, so please now try to understand the wordings. Whenever you use any words okay has been pronounced, you try to see the meaning of it. Otherwise, okay, just pretend to be that is the guessing doesn't work out. Okay, so the glacier is a persistent body of dense ice Okay, so in most of the Hollywood movies, you could be able to see a very dense ice which has been falling down. Okay, even in latest Kamal Haasan movie also they have seen this snowfall where he just went to Kashmir and things like that, right? So a lot of snows are there. It's a persistent body of dense ice that moves under its own weight. Okay, moves under its own weight. They form in areas where no snow accumulation exceeds melting over many years. Glaciers are essentially massive, slow-moving rivers of ice found on land primarily in polar regions. Underline the word primarily in polar regions and high altitude mountain ranges. Okay, formation. How the glaciers form? The glaciers form when snow accumulates over many years. It keep on accumulating over many years and compacts into ice and it will form as a ice. So some icebergs will be there at the bottom of the sea. This all happen. Okay, when the ship goes, they will be very careful. The captain will be very careful. There may be ice trap at the bottom of the thing. They could not able to see. If they go and eat, even the ship can break. Okay, so you might have heard about what you called Titanic movie and things like that, right? So you just go and refer back to things. Okay, what is the history? What is the effects of ice which has been kept inside, which has been formed inside the underneath the ocean, which will it affect the sailing, especially how it affect the ship. Okay, the weight of the overlying snow compresses the lower layers, transforming them into ice. Eventually, the ice begins to flow downhill due to gravity. Increased runoff overs observed in several regions. Warming alters thermal structure and quality of rivers and lakes. Atmospheric water vapor content has risen alongside warming trends. So, impact on terrestrial ecosystems. Yearly spring events, leaf unfolding, bird migration, egg laying. So, it's not only affect the human, it also affects the another species like even the birds. Yearly spring events. So, if it is really what will happen? Leaf unfolding. Okay, it's not unfolding. Leaf unfolding. Bird migration takes place. Egg laying. What is, you may think actually bird will always migrate, but that is a season. So depending on if you go to what you call near to bird sanctuary or what you call the place is called near to Vedanium. Okay, so that is one place where the birds come and migrate and depending on the season. Okay, so it all natural things. Okay, so it's in the, what do you call it? If the nature is in, we are lining with the nature, obviously there will be an effect. Otherwise, what will happen? This climate change and it will be a non-suitable for the living beings to live. So because of that, all the disease comes into picture. So why we are studying global climate is a very predominant alert has been given to all the people that climate is has been changing, which will makes us to live uncomfortably. So all ultimate aim for all the people to live comfortable, right? So please keep in mind. So what are the effects, the man-made activities which we are doing? If we don't have maintain a sustainability, obviously it affects back the human mainly. Okay, the priority, high priority will be given to the humans. Okay, so but of course, even the ecosystem belongs to the other species as well. But first of all, we need to protect ourselves. Okay, when compared to protecting the others, obviously we are also depending on the others that we need to keep in mind. Longer growing seasons documented via satellite observations. Okay, biodiversity patterns are being reshaped by warming trends. So when you see the meteorological department, so whenever the people send the satellite, just see what for they are sending the satellite. So when the satellite is successful, so don't clap and things like that. Just think logically and think intellectually and see why they are sending this satellite, what is the purpose of it, and what are the how is there any satellite which has been sent only for the purpose of a weather station or they are just trying to locate the thing. So the Google map, now you see the Google map, even if people who are standing on the ground could be able to easily visible catched by the satellite image. Okay, so the Google map, what happens actually, the satellite will give you a clear online site and we could be able to even predict the even 3 to 4 meters very precisely. And most of the what you call the bombers and attacks now it has been made up of very accurate precision. I mean very accurate. Okay, that means without a changing a small deviation. Okay, with precise values they are targeting. So what I am trying to say, this satellites is a very good advantage for us to observe the things what is currently, but observing is doesn't help you that people have been find out the root cause for that deviation, and the root cause of this deviation we need to take action on it. So for that we just trying to try to reduce the carbon footprint, and the people in India as well as in China, they have already have set a point zero this time, zero carbon footprint. Okay, so in 2050, and China is targeting for yearly, too yearly as well. Okay, so these are the things you need to keep in mind. Impact on marine and freshwater systems, rising water temperature, alter ice cover, salinity, oxygen, and circulation. Changes affect algal, plankton, and fish abundance. So what they are talking about here is that it changes the impact on marine and freshwater system because of the climate change. It also affects the algal, plankton, and fish abundance. Fish migration in rivers in occurring earlier coral bleaching events, okay, linked to the warming seas. And observational data consistency, over 29,000 observation series analyzed from 75 studies, 89% of the match expected warming related changes. Evidence spans all continents and most oceans. Strong agreement between the models and the observed stage. So if this says the strong agreement model, that means it holds good. I mean, the data, the predicted value and the actual value is found to be same. Okay, and coming to the human impact on agriculture and health, ELL crop planting in northern hemisphere high latitudes, altered forest fire and pest disturbance patterns, heat related mortality, okay, increasing in regions like Europe. So the heat stroke has become very common because they have been growing in a very chill climate. Okay, 20 degrees itself is a very during the summer of Europe, you can find around 20 degrees Celsius or not even more than 25 degrees Celsius. Okay, so but imagine, okay, if it is going cold, okay, it will become minus 8 degree or minus 12 degrees Celsius sometimes. Okay, when I was landed in France during 2013, the first time in my lifetime, that time I just find is 8 degrees Celsius. Okay, I find it very cold. My hands are shivering. So it's very clear we have been brought up in a tropical region like India. Okay, and we are just moving to the Europe and could not able to withstand that particular climate. So just imagine the people who was born and brought up in Europe, and if they come during the summer in India, just what they will think of. Even those people who are living in the Europe itself found to be, yeah, affected with the heat related mortality. That means they have been affected with the heat stroke and things like that. So they could not able to withstand the hot climate. Okay, by nature, because it is human body has been habituated to that, to their climate. Okay, so you should care about all the species. Okay, not only that, even if the species not only human, the races may be different, right? Similarly, the plants and even the species like marine species and even birds, you could be able to see the different species varieties. Even peacock or even what you call parrot, you could be able to find the difference between the Asian parrot and things like that. So because they will adapt to that culture, I mean environment, obviously that will be, they could not able to withstand the other thing. So this will not be affected. This is a natural thing. Okay, these things will not happen because not only by natural thing, natural have the ability to regenerate its own position. That you need to keep in mind. Okay, so because of the is very clear, the agreement clearly says that because of this change in environment happens, okay, because of the human made activities, that you should be very careful on that, how to reduce that part, that whenever whatever the small activities you are doing, whether you want to go for work in abroad or in industry, okay, you just try to find it out whether they are letting out any harmful gases which will trap the heat and then reciprocate and replicate reflect back to the environment. Just tell them, okay, this is a standard of central pollution control, state pollution. They also have, but sometimes they will skip the things, all these things, especially in the developing nation or underdeveloped nation. So the even with 140 crores of population, India is still saying is under the developing nation and developing nation. Hopefully, we will become a developed nation on one time because it is 1.54 billion population. Out of 8 crores, 1.4 million is almost 1/7 of the population. Just imagine. Okay, so the China is growing very fast with their economy as well as the things. The same standard, okay, need to be maintained to become a superpower. At the same time, we also make sure there should not be any uh, unwanted pollutants or need to be let out, and make sure the carbon footprint has been reduced drastically, bring to zero at the as early as possible. No need to wait until 2050. Okay, so greenhouse gases emission growth. Greenhouse gas emission rose 70% between 1970 to 2004. Carbon dioxide emission increased from 80% during the same period. The greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide concentration now exceed the pre-industrial levels. Ice core data confirm unprecedented atmospheric greenhouse gas levels in 650,000 years. Okay, attribution to human activities. Most warming since mid 20th century is very likely human caused. Climate models replicate the observed trends only with the anthropogenic inputs. Human influence likely increased sea level, extreme heat, and heavy rain. Warming is consistent across continents except Antarctica. Warming is consistent across continents except the Antarctica. Arctic at the top and Antarctica at the bottom. So it has been tilted to 23-degree angle. Because of that also it may not be getting affected. So just try to find the root cause for this statement. Okay, why they are stating like that? Why what is the necessary to say like that? Okay, so India's diverse geographic and climate sensitive sectors like agriculture make it heavily vulnerable to climate change. Scientific evidence from the IPCC and Indian research bodies confirms significant shift in temperature, rainfall patterns, glaciers, and ecosystems. These changes directly threaten livelihoods, biodiversity, and national development goals, requiring urgent monitoring and adaptive strategies. Coming to the indication of warming overview, average surface air temperature in India has risen by zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.4 degrees Celsius per 100 years. So in India itself, it has been increased to zero point 0.2 to zero point 0.4 degrees Celsius. As I told you in the last lecture, the rise in temperature is not even across the globe. There is different monsoon pattern, different climate, different entrapment of heat energy by the greenhouse gases changes the temperature at different regions at different levels. Okay, average surface air temperature in India has risen by zero point 0.2 degrees Celsius to zero point 0.4 degrees Celsius per 100 years. The warming is most evident in post-monsoon and winter seasons, with the monsoon months showing no significant trend. Urbanization is influencing local climate by altering the humidity, rainfall, and sunshine duration, creating the microclimatic effects in cities. So sunshine duration is very important, which I already told you. So because of the climatic patterns, what happens? Okay, the sunshine what we you think is not like that. Okay, in India you will see 6 a.m. you will get a sunrise, and evening 6 or 6:30 there will be dawn. It will become dawn or a sun set will be there. But in different countries, if you go to Singapore, the sun rise will be around 7 a.m. Okay, or Malaysia 7 a.m. the same region, very close places. Okay, when you go to the northern part like Denmark and things like that, it's not even the sun. Only for Scotland and this Iceland and things like that, the sun will be for a long duration. Okay, so sometimes even at 9 p.m. you will find what you call it's a, you could be able to see the sun. Okay, these are the things. Urbanization is influencing the local climate by altering the humidity, rainfall, sunshine duration, creating microclimatic effects in cities. Temperature extremes, maximum and minimum trends. Maximum temperature are rising in most regions except northwest India, where trends are minimal. Minimum temperature remains stable in most areas, but northwest India has cooled by zero point 0.6 degrees Celsius per century. So, what they mean is that northwest India has cooled by zero point 0.6 degrees Celsius per century. Minimum temperature remains stable in most of the areas. Maximum temperature rising in most regions in northwest except northwest India. Northwest, what happens actually? It has been cooled. So northwest is what? North and west is our Meghalaya, Calcutta. That is all northwest. Okay, sorry, that is northeast. Northwest is this region, right? So what do you call Rajasthan, this part. Okay, so Punjab and things like that. So above Gujarat and that part. Okay, northwest, north and west. India has cooled by 6 degrees Celsius per century. This cooling has been recorded in cities like Delhi alongside rising cold days in North India. Urbanization effect. Studies in 15th centuries cities reveal a decline in bright sunshine hours, radiation levels, and wind speeds over the last 40 to 50 years, humidity and rainfall in urban zones are increasing, alter the seasonal weather patterns. Odd days about 35 degrees Celsius are fewer in North India but increasing in South India. Odd days about 35 degrees are fewer in North India, whereas South India is alarming. That's what they say. Okay, extreme heat events. Notable examples include 1998 Orissa and 2003 Andhra Pradesh heat waves. Okay, need to be considered why this is occurred because of the climate change pattern. Okay, so this odd waves is usually very common in the desert area. So in the Andhra Pradesh, I don't think there won't be any much
desert area. It's not a under desert region. Okay, but still the arteries is common. Notable examples include 1980, 98 Orissa and 2003 Andhra Pradesh heatwaves. In 2003, stations like Ongole and Anaconda exceed long-term maximum temperature average for prolonged period. Such events through annual fluctuation are becoming alarming in terms and persistent, causing major health and economic impact. Himalayan warming. Coming to India, we have Himalaya at the top. Average temperature in the Himalaya has risen by 1 degree Celsius since the mid 1970s. So what happened? In Himalaya, what we have? We have ice glaciers, right? So ice will melt. We start to snows will have will try to melt. So this warming accelerates the glacial melt. You see here, glacial melt threatening to long-term water resources. Increased snow ablation is already altering river runoff pattern in the Bias and Baspas basics, glacial lakes and risk. 20 lakes in Nepal and 24 in Bhutan are swelling due to glacial melt, raising flood risk. ICI MOD coordinates safety measures, but Indian glacial monitoring needs urgent strengthening. The Slachan Glacier could shrink to debris in just over a decade. So these are the alarming things they are giving. So don't think that the statement which have been here they have been written. So if you have been not taking care of the changes in wind patterns or changes in the climate, obviously this will occur. That's what the prediction says. Okay, the similar records show reduced precipitation and longer gaps between the snowfalls. Bias and Baspa basins experience 75% increase in runoff since 1966, linked to rising winter temperatures. Okay, this shift impacts agriculture, hydroelectricity, and downstream ecosystems. Coming to the rainfall pattern, regional variations. Overall monsoon rainfall shows no century scale trend, but regional patterns are distinct. Punjab and Karnataka regions show increasing rainfall, while Arunachal Pradesh and Kerala show declines. Heavy rain events are rising in some areas but decreasing elsewhere. So the drought. So when the drought happens, what will happen? Just think of. Okay, obviously the food scarcity may occur, and the people could not able to export it, and even the crops which not sufficient, cultivated crops which not sufficient to disseminate among our own people. Heavy rainfall even are rising in some areas but decreasing everywhere. Droughts and rainstorms, drought incidents are declining in previously drought-prone northwest and central India. Severe rainstorms peaked in the 1960s but have since declined, possibly due to reduced cyclone activity. Variability in rainfall streams poses challenges for water resources management. Monsoon depression and cyclones. Monsoon depressions have fallen from 7 to 8 per percent to 2 to 3 in the 1990s to 2000s. 2002 was the first year in 115 years without a monsoon depression. Okay, so 2002 was the first year it happened in out of 115 years without a monsoon depression. Cyclic storms in May and November show an increasing trend impacting the coastal zones. Sea level rise observations, tide gauges in Mumbai and Chennai show mixed sea level trends over 75 years. Regional variation and seismic activity complicate the precise projection. Vulnerability is highest in the Ganga Brahmaputra, Meghna Delta, and Gujarat coast. So we all talk about this particular chapter is for mainly concentrated on the Indian things. So just think of what are the other factors which have been happening around the globe. Okay, it's a global climate change, but we just stress upon the pattern which has been happening over here in India. Okay, so coastal vulnerabilities, storm surges in the Bay of Bengal cause devastating coastal flooding, rising seas and subsidence worsen risk in for millions of in low-lying coastal regions. Underline the word risking. Okay, for millions in low-lying coastal zones. Okay, so when the sea rise okay, even increases to zero point 0.1 meter or zero point 0.2 meter, is subsequently affected the people who have been residing in the low-lying coastal zones. Because most of the people around the globe will be reside very close to the coastal region or maybe near to the water resources. Because we need a water any day for day-to-day activity. So this cultivation, this civilization happens. Okay, not only now it has happened from the last 5,000 years back itself. Okay, the people will used to live in a coastal region, and the people who live in the habituated to live in the coastal region will not go into the interior part of the land. Okay, because if they have been habituated and they have been depending on the what you called marine life, like fishes for their own as their own food, and so they will not go interior part. So the people who are interior is obviously as long as the river flows to them or any lakes are there, the people will try to live safely. Okay, and actually with their own comfort zone. Okay, so the mangroves and coastal wetlands act as the natural buffers, but themselves under threat. Water stress current situation: India has 4% of global freshwater, but distribution is uneven. 80% of the rainfall occurs during a 100-day monsoon, leading to both drought and flood in the same year. Okay, so 80% of the rainfall occurs during a 100-day monsoon. Just imagine within a short period, 100 day, 80 fall. So the flooding. Okay, it's almost like a flooding. If it is a even distribution of rainfall is okay, but unfortunately, what happened because of the climate change, even the weather pattern could not able to predict. Okay, because sometimes even at the now there is no, it's not a rainy season, right? So August at the beginning, okay, it's almost the second week of August. Okay, but we found actually it's a rainy thing. So it's not able to predict. So this pattern will not be how many years it has been. I mean, if you see the last 100 years of the data, okay, whether this pattern is matching or not, then only we could be able to predict what will happen to the next year and see and so forth. Okay, and the farmers will be affected. Those who have been habituated, or those who have been planning for trip or even for the farming purpose, they could not able to predict the weather condition unless otherwise the meteorology department, the satellite image has been shown to us only 3 days or a week before, that will help you to understand the pattern. I mean weather pattern. Even higher rainfall regions like Cherrapunji face seasonal shortage. Underline the word Cherrapunji face seasonal shortage. So it is natural means if there is no influence of anthropogenic activities, Cherrapunji you will throughout the year you will find a rainfall. Okay, so future water demands and climate risk. Water demand may rise from 634 BCM to 147 BCM. Okay, million meter cube. Okay, mostly for irrigation. Himalayan fed rivers face reduced flow as snow lines retreat. Semi-arid basins are more sensitive to warming than humid basins, risking agricultural output and livelihoods. With this note, I stop it. I really hope you understood. So we need to cover another one subtopic, that is the last subtopic of Unit 2. Definitely, I will cover that part before you. I mean, within a short period of time. So you will watch that video as well and try to start to prepare for your FAT 1. Okay, the syllabus for your FAT 1 is, as you know, it is a 2 units. Okay, with this note, I stop it here. When you come on today's evening section, we will try to discuss the difficulties and if you are find any clarification, if you get any clarification, you can please start it out. Okay, during the face-to-face section. With this note, I stop it here. Thank you.